What is up, guys? Phaedo82 coming at you with a weekly Rust update video. The gunplay in Rust has once again changed, removing the lazy aiming mechanics, which means that subtle movements with the mouse will no longer shift the barrel of your gun. Instead, the entire screen will now move with your mouse movements, causing greater accuracy and tighter gunplay. This is not the same gunplay mechanics that were in Rust Legacy. That was hit scan detection, and this is not that. You'll still have to account for bullet velocity and drop when choosing your shots, and you can expect to see further evolutions of Rust gunplay in the coming year. If you guys are fans of using the M249 SAW light machine gun, you'll notice some new special effects when using that model, and the belt link casings are now ejected properly, which gives it a greater sense of realism. I think you guys will enjoy this change for the most part. It's going to increase your accuracy and have a tighter feel. The lazy aiming mechanics always felt a bit loose. The number of throwable items in Rust has once again increased. You can now throw the salvage cleaver, the mace, and the two-handed sword by hitting the right mouse button. They don't pack as much of a punch as they probably should, and they do move at a very slow pace, so if you're trying to land shots, it's a bit difficult, but it's very satisfying when you finally are able to connect one. Now, I believe that the in-game graphic for the salvage cleaver has changed. It now has road signs for blades. I saw some concept artwork that had that in the past, but I wasn't aware that it was actually added into the game. Was this something, guys, that was added in before and I'm just noticing now? Now we're taking a look at the next iteration of Rust's procedurally generated terrain, which has made its way into the game this week. Right off the bat, you're going to notice new rock formations. Don't worry, guys, you can still build rock bases. However, those rock bases are going to be able to be rated a bit easier because these rocks are able to be navigated much easier than the other rock formations in Rust. So this is going to be somewhat of a game changer, and it should be interesting to see how these rocks are utilized in new base designs. Some rocks have cracks in the middle, and when you can build in those areas, if you can fit a base in there, it will be very interesting to see how that's incorporated into the game. Other than that, you guys will notice some subtle changes around the terrain, which will help with performance, especially in the Radtown areas or the new dungeons. They're still pretty much the gray box models, but they have had some tweaks in different areas. Player collision has been added in, so they'll be easier to navigate, which is going to be really important after this week's forced blueprint wipe. If you guys are cave dwellers, you're going to notice the caves look a little bit different, so if you're looking for a cave, those new rock formations will affect how it looks. In terms of the inside, it's pretty much the same, but there is a little bit of a different way to build in here. You can still build fully in the cave, but if you have certain types of builds in here that start in the bottom of the cave and then work its way up, you're going to notice some new rock formations back here, and you can't build exactly in the manner you were building before, so you might have to adapt if you're a cave dweller. Stability in the game has once again been tweaked, and it's in favor of base defenders in this go-round. Raid towers are going to be a bit tricky to build. You can go up to about 14 or 15 stories before the stability will no longer work, and you can only go out about 2 floors, and that's going to be about it, guys. We tried different ways to build raid towers, and it was very tricky. This was on the dev server, so mileage may vary when it's in the wild, but I think you're going to see less raid towers, which is probably a good thing. Once again, hit up those Radtowns. It's a forced blueprint wipe this week, so across all servers you will not have blueprints and will have to start over again from scratch, and these Radtowns are places where you want to go ahead and be getting those fragments, blueprints, and items. Sorry guys, the snow biome has not been added in. You need to go up to those mountain peaks if you want to utilize that snow, and they are few and far between, so that's something that has not changed. The weather in Rust has received a slight iteration, specifically with regard to rainstorms. When it rains out, it has a higher chance of bringing in more clouds and fog. When the clouds and fog come together, the rainstorms have a higher probability of being more intense. When the fog rolls in, it does decrease visibility, so keep that in mind. That does tend to be a bit of a game changer, but the type of dynamic weather not only helps to draw you into Rust and make it feel like it's a living and breathing world, but I really hope that in the future we see more dynamic weather events, things like snowstorms that might change biomes and make them feel and function differently, and perhaps lightning storms that would affect players by injuring players who are wearing metal armor or carrying weapons, damaging the weapons, the armor, and perhaps the player's health. That type of stuff I think would be really cool, and I hope that this is a step in that direction. The in-game voice proximity chat has received a massive overhaul in this week's version of Rust. Not only are players able to be heard easier, but now when you speak in the game, it no longer shows your Steam icon. You'll notice here I'm talking with this player, and my Steam icon is not becoming opaque in the lower left hand corner. We're not seeing his either. What we're seeing here is an exchange in which I'm speaking, and it indicates that I'm talking from that meter at the top, and it does not indicate that he's talking other than the voice that we hear. This adds to a sense of realism in Rust, and I think that it's a much needed change. Also guys, the view model on that new semi-automatic rifle has been finished, and it should be added into the game soon. It didn't make its way in, but chances are this is right around the corner, so we'll probably see this relatively soon, and it'll be really fun to test out. It looks beautiful, and can't wait to see that in the game. For any music lovers out there, go ahead and check out Facepunch Studios' SoundCloud page. I'll link it below. There's some brooding atmospheric music over there that might be added into the game in the future, and it's really worth listening to. What you're looking at right now are some sample floor tiles that have various functionality to them and could be added into your base designs, and this is some concept artwork for the gardening mechanics that will be making their way into the game in the future. As metabolism becomes more fleshed out in the game and food becomes more important, gardening will likely play a very important role in the game. Alright, and now as we wind down this week's update video, I wanted to take a look at some artwork from the Rust community. This was featured in last week's community update. In case you guys missed it, make sure you always check out those community updates, but just in case you didn't see it, I wanted a chance to show off this artwork again. This is by Tatten. He's a member of the Rust community and a very skilled artist, as you can see, and he went ahead and put down what was in his mind on paper here, which is something that I'm in awe of. And there's some really cool concepts here. He's done some of his own sort of concept artwork where we see these robots integrated into the Rust landscape, and that's, you know, something that would be a really cool PvE threat. But beyond that, look at some of the concepts that he's fleshed out in his artwork here. Let him know what you think in the comments below, and also let me know what you think. I think there's some really awesome things here, and this dude's really talented. And as always, guys, really hope you enjoyed the video. Phaedo82, peace.